Here is a list of the 6 types of people or relationships that you will need to create boundaries with. Number 1 is inconsiderate people. These individuals often disregard your feelings, your needs, and boundaries to carry out their own agenda. Inconsiderate people rarely stop to think about how their choices and actions affect others. If you find yourself connected to inconsiderate individuals, it would do you well to keep a healthy amount of distance. Otherwise, you run the risk of them invading your life, bringing in a slew of inconvenient circumstances and situations. These relationships can be daunting because these people rarely access the consequences of their actions. Being able to consider is a trait of integrity and maturity that not everyone develops. Never waste time and energy out of your life trying to teach someone the virtue of consideration. If they cared to be considerate, they would be. It's usually a simple choice. Number 2 is overly opinionated people. While sometimes they're well-meaning, some people can impose their beliefs and judgments onto you. This can become draining because you begin subconsciously absorbing their input, which may be at odds with your own intuition and reasoning. When it comes to people like this, anything that is sensitive and important to you should be kept secret. Although opinionated people can be discouraging, they don't always try to be. They just have a way of seeming like they know a lot more than they actually do. Take their input with a grain of salt. And remember, if they're not living the life you're aiming for, they should not be directing you on how to get there. Number 3 is pushy people. It is common in life to run into people who are a bit more pushy than others. They usually have a harmless and gregarious persona about them. We oftentimes just see them as being a bit more assertive than the average. This can be beneficial if you have trouble being assertive yourself, but it can be just as detrimental for that same reason. Pushy people are looking for sidekicks. This poses a problem if you have a specific path that you've chosen for your life, because these people can come along and take over the trajectory of your daily routine with a charismatic charm that appears harmless. But over time you will become a bystander of your own life while they become the main character. Keep them at bay to avoid confusion. Number 4 is negative people. Negativity can be contagious. Surrounding yourself with negative people can quickly erode your motivation and optimism. Dreams and goals have to be protected from negative minds. It's almost like exposing a newborn child to harmful germs and bacteria. You have to protect yourself the same way we protect small children. Give yourself and your new ideas time to grow and develop immunity before mingling with pessimistic minds. Pessimism is like a disease. It quite literally brings ease to your ideas and plans. Develop boundaries around what you share and speak about with negative people. Anything of light that you present to them will be consumed with negativity. Number 5 is abusive people. Establishing boundaries with abusive individuals is not only important, it's imperative. It has to be done silently and strategically. Abusive people have usually suffered some form of emotional damage that causes them to lose empathy for others. When someone is abusive towards you, the most important thing to note is that abuse gets worse with time. These are individuals who you can't create peace and harmony with because they lack it within themselves, therefore they choose chaos, and they've made it their norm. In order to stay with them, you must do the same. Disconnect from abusive people silently, slowly, and strategically. Last is number 6, the people associated with your old habits and addictions. One of the most critical aspects of changing your life involves breaking free from old habits and addictions. People who were a part of this version of you can trigger relapses or temptations, making it difficult to stay on your new path. If you are aiming to heal from a detrimental lifestyle, spending time with people you use to do these things with will hinder your transformation. Establishing boundaries in these situations means avoiding environments and individuals that are linked to your old ways. This will involve finding new social activities that support your new lifestyle. Balancing your relationships with your need for growth and alone time can feel challenging. While it may not always be easy, setting boundaries is essential for your well-being and transformation. Here are some non-confrontational methods to enforce and maintain your boundaries without creating conflict. The first effective way to set boundaries is a sort of light-hearted conviction, if you will. Use light-hearted humor. Imagine a friend constantly asking you to join them when you would prefer your time. A quick response could be, "Sorry, I got plans with a rose and erotica novel." You see, this approach keeps the mood light. Now, of course, some will continue trying to pressure you, but nevertheless, stay solid. You are the CEO of your life. Maintain a graceful yet unmovable stance on your declinations, while at the same time, ever so lightly going into the next topic of conversation. Why, you ask? Because it's non-negotiable. That's why. Never negotiate your time with other people unless you have duties and responsibilities to them. The second effective way to set boundaries is by not engaging at all. If someone is trying to get you to discuss things you would rather not speak about, drama or distasteful pettiness, maintain a silent and disinterested demeanor. Give very little. If they bagger you for more feedback and responses, still give very little. Over time, others will begin to understand your boundaries through silence and distance. Both are viable options when it comes to getting your point across. Third is direct communication. There are times when a direct approach is necessary. This, of course, can and should be done without aggression. Tell them you need yourself to yourself. This is a truth that should end as a complete statement. But some have a hard time understanding the need for such things. And this is where silence will do you well. On the other hand, a heartfelt explanation of the need for boundaries is usually good enough for most of ones. This can be done for any reason and at any time. Simply speak about your need for more alone time and take it as often and as regular as you need it. A fourth way to implement boundaries is simply by enabling do not disturb. Carve out a schedule that ensures your personal time belongs to you. Do this, and you won't need to remind people. After a while, they will start to see that you are unavailable. The more you schedule your time diligently by creating activities for yourself, the more others will understand your time restrictions and adjust to your availability. From here, you can begin to set aside time frames that will be acceptable for you to spend time with others. That way it's being created in a way that allows you to feel more balanced. Last is self-care. It becomes easier to recognize when you need to rest and recharge when you practice self-care. Begin to use your time to restore yourself. It will naturally create boundaries away from things that don't serve you. When your schedule gets built around self-care activities, you cultivate a life of fulfillment by molding your life to your liking. If you enjoyed it, like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to check out other related videos on the channel. See you next time.